Hola, how we doing? Trying to get this thing up and there we go. How's business, people? 2 for 1 here, Facebook Live and Periscope. Oh, it's always hard to get the second one smoothed over. That'll be better. Poor going so far. Slide it. All right, I think we can make that work. What do you think? What do you think? Good to see you, people. Thank you for coming in. Don't block the box. Please talk about T.O. in the Hall of Fame. All right, so listen. Does he have Hall of Fame numbers? Absolutely. Did I vote for him while he was on the ballot? Absolutely. He wasn't on the ballot, but for the first vote, where you have 15 players and you narrow them to 10. But it's not strictly numbers, all right? Let me find my booklet here. These are the subjects that the Hall of Fame has you kind of consider. The principles of the Hall of Fame: commitment, integrity, courage, respect, excellence. I don't know that Terrell Owens gets a check mark in too many of those categories. Again, I think he should be in. Here's the argument against him. Coaches hated him across the board. Andy Reid called him during a season where he was being productive and said, "I can't have you close to my team anymore," and suspended him. Carmen Policy, who drafted him, said, "Not a Hall of Famer." Bill Polian said, "You can't have a disruptor like that." Listen, it's about more than the numbers. I think if you look at the 5 guys that got in this year, they all get check marks universally across the board on that thing. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I would have voted for him again if he made the cut onto that ballot. He doesn't have the support in the room. And I know many of you want to think that is a media holding a grudge thing, but it's not. It certainly isn't with me. Marvin Harrison was a bad guy too. Again, I'm trying like hell to draw this line, but you are too dense to get it. Marvin Harrison maybe had a gun incident in Philadelphia, right? And he was a surly guy away from the field. He wasn't friendly to the media, by the way. Wasn't particularly good, and he got in despite that. The gun thing in Philadelphia is not in our purview, okay? Draw a circle around the stadium, the locker room, the practice facility, the practice field, the locker room. That's it, okay? So I think Marvin Harrison was regarded as a great teammate, all right? I know that T.O. was not regarded as a great teammate. He had coaches who could not stand him. So I don't understand how people are not able to make the distinction. Argue the Terrell Owens case all that you want. Argue it. But argue it understanding the circles that I just drew for you. The failure of fans who I've talked to on the radio, on Twitter, and now here to comprehend the difference between Ray Lewis's Atlanta incident and Terrell Owens in the locker room. I just can't fathom. I can't fathom it. You got to concentrate with me. Dan Wright's comment on Facebook is a good one. He had some chronic negatives, systemic ones. He just gets crowded out by better, quote unquote, better choices, and some incidents that were not systemic. Listen, I think there's a mental health case to be made here, maybe. Eric Berry's going to resign in Kansas City. I mean, you could fantasize about him being a free agent that the Titans get, and I certainly think they'd be interested. But they'd be crazy to let him walk. I want desperately for that to be like that. What can I do to make that happen? What can I put there? Bear with me. Oh, look, the bell. Here's the bell. I can play a mean bell. Just want something on there. What can I put on there? These mints, ginger mints, they're going to help me. nobody's strapped. Nobody's so strapped for cash that they can't make it work for one of their best places. Yeah, I know about a mini tripod. I just don't have it with me. There, that's better. I know all about it. I mean, somebody's mentioning Cardinal strong safety Jefferson. I don't think the Titans are aggressively in the market for safety. I mean, they might wind up with one, but I don't think they consider it a huge thing. Do I think Steve McNair gets in easy? Steve McNair's never been a finalist. He's been eligible for years. Steve McNair's not a Hall of Famer. He's not close to being a Hall of Famer. He had a co-MVP, was the peak of his career. He went to a Super Bowl and played very well. He was never the best quarterback of his generation. You're being a complete Titans homer if you think that he's Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Brett Favre, his contemporaries. He was a second-tier guy in the league, a very good guy, a Titans Hall of Famer, but not a Pro Football Hall of Famer. If J-Rob sticks and picks at number 5, is it a receiver or cornerback? It might be neither. It might be a safety. It might be a pass rusher. This idea that they're only going to take guys at those two positions with their premium picks is really lacking nuance. Thank you for the compliments on the Frank articles, and I'm happy to talk about Frank. What do I expect from Marcus in his third year? I mean, if his leg heals as they expect and hope, I expect a great thing. Somebody says Fisher's offensive coordinators wouldn't let McNair be great. McNair won a co-MVP under Mike Heimerdinger, who absolutely let McNair be great. Also, you don't put a guy in the Hall of Fame because his coordinators held him back, which is not a theory that I buy. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Look, there's part of our Super Bowl guest list over our shoulder on the Periscope version of this, at least. Great Tajay for the total season. I mean, didn't live up to their preseason hype, but pretty good for a fifth-round rookie who got a lot of playing time. Yeah, Kenny Stills doesn't excite me that much. I'm really eager for the Titans to get and grow their own wide receiver as opposed to getting a second-tier free agent. Best free agent cornerback this year, A.J. Bouye from Houston. Ryan Logan from up in New England is intriguing to Robinson because he helped draft him. I don't know what Frank's plan is. He's got a contract for a good while, I believe. Malcolm Butler, if he's a free agent, is restricted, I'm pretty sure. I've written everything I know about Titans ownership versus the NFL. I have nothing new to offer on that. Delaney Walker's got 2 years left on his contract, so I think he'll play at least 2 more years. Absolutely a chance to get rid of McCourty. He's got $7 million base in his last year. I haven't looked at the trade chart to break down what the Titans could get if they dealt number 5, but they could do quite well. Certainly get a second rounder back. But it's really amazing to me how many fans are obsessed with getting a second rounder back instead of getting a top flight player at 5. If you can get a top flight player at 5, that's great. I could see them trading down, but I'm not worried about the second rounders. I'm worried about them getting to 10 and still getting somebody they love. Trumaine Johnson, all reports are, is not a good guy. I don't think he's what they're looking for in terms of team first. Best free agent safety, Barry, if he reaches free agency outside of that, I'm not really familiar. And again, I don't know why people are obsessing on safety. I mean, Jamal Adams could change the scope. And obviously, Stafford and Johnson are free agents. But Titans spent a third-round pick on Byard last year. How much safety expenditure do you want? Titans aren't they're not changing from a 210 at base, no. They lie on their depth chart and say that they're two back base, somehow paying tribute to Fowler, which I don't really understand. But this is a run-first team. They're not a 3-wide team. Alshon Jeffrey's a strike away from being suspended at least 8 games. That would worry the hell out of me. I've tweeted what John Robinson said about Logan Ryan, and I certainly think he would be interested. I haven't looked at all the tight ends. O.J. Howard's obviously very good. I'm not. I don't know. There's some other good tight ends here. It would surprise me if they drafted a tight end with one of the 2 first-round picks. Corey Davis is unbelievable. I've watched highlight tape, which obviously anybody has a good highlight tape, but the guy's remarkable and very intriguing. Yeah, I think he'd fit in nicely here from everything I'm hearing and reading. Do I see more playing time for Derrick Henry next year? Some, but I'd stick with the same standard we had this year. I wouldn't take DeMarco Murray off the field if he's healthy and going well. I don't do grades, Richie B. It's crazy. Do I have Davis graded against ahead of Williams as of now? I'm not qualified to grade draft prospects who I don't watch with any consistency during the year. McNair's not a Hall of Famer. I don't understand how this keeps coming up. I mean, Titans fans have to pull back and take a 10,000-foot view and look down. He's contemporaries of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's never the best of those guys, never mentioned in the group with those guys. Josh Klein's the right guard. I mean, they could try to upgrade there, but the offensive line was very good. I don't see them necessarily messing with it. Eddie George, also not a Hall of Famer. There are like hundreds of players with the better yards per carry in their time as an NFL running back than Eddie George. Great guy, great player for the Titans, Ring of Honor, all that stuff. He did win an MVP, and in the year he won an MVP, shared it with Peyton Manning, who did a lot more career-wise. There are a lot of one-time MVPs who are not in the Hall of Fame. Right now, I'd say that they should win the division, but I haven't seen what Houston and Jacksonville and the Colts do this offseason. I think Chris Ballard's a heck of an addition for the Colts. I thought he was a good candidate for the Titans before they hired John Robinson, and those 2 guys are going to have some battles. I think it'll be pretty good. Yeah, they know they need to get a corner. That's no secret. You're not telling them, Carol, anything they don't know. Need more than one, frankly. George and Bettis are basically the same guy, but one played for a great franchise. I mean, I could see how you're saying that, but Bettis had remarkable feet for a man of his size, and Eddie was, more a straight-ahead mauler. A very good player, but just not a Hall of Famer. I don't understand how you can't make the connection that a guy can be very good but not Hall of Famer. And it's just not that complicated. David Reed's in the room, everyone. Feel free to say hi to David Reed. He's over there. He might come circle behind for a cameo appearance. I thought the halftime show was good. I'd like to see Gaga do a whole concert with just her and a piano. What's going on there, Reed? Bringing in some beverages?
I got the wine collection in the divorce, and I don't drink, so regifting to Hutton.
I don't think I don't know if the Titans bring back both Stafford and Johnson. I think Stafford's a good player who probably is affordable. Wright didn't get re-signed because it's not re-signing time, really. But he's not getting re-signed. Yeah, there are a couple of wine bottles that he brought in for Hutton. I'm not a Antonio Andrews guy at all. I don't think he should have been on this team last year. So, what do I know? Yeah, it was nice for the Titans to be good. It's been a long time covering a terrible team, so nice change of pace for the storylines to change. It's not a Dr. Evil coat. It's like a golf pullover. Relax. I wear a lot of pullovers. I get my draft info from all over the place. I read a ton of people. again, now here's somebody moving McCourty to safety. So you want Byard out? I don't really understand. I like Jamal Adams with their first pick. If Jamal Adams is everything I've heard, Mike Detillier, who I respect, thinks Adams is a remarkable talent. So we shall see. Yeah, my voice is a little hoarse. That's still left over from the Super Bowl. I apologize. Listen, you got to take that Locke Fora question to CBS. Go ask CBS. Go ask CBS. No, Malarkey's not concerned with having a young, hot next coaching hire, and I don't think he's got anybody on his staff that qualifies as such a thing. If the Titans trade the 5th pick in the first round, it's not because there's a lot of talk about it. It's because they like the offer they have. Sarkisian is the Falcons' new offensive coordinator. Interesting. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. A.J. Bouye is a very interesting player who I would imagine they will chase. Have no idea if the Browns want Garoppolo, if they can afford Garoppolo, if they'd spend enough to get Garoppolo. I'm wary of backup quarterbacks from other teams because they historically don't pan out. Thank you, Marty Allen. I appreciate that. I have no real take on the new wide receiver coach. I know he's very much a Terry Robisky disciple, and so there'll be great consistency from Malarkey to Robisky to him. Yeah, I had Rashard Matthews pegged early. You're right, Jordan. I'm not far enough along to tell you who that guy is. Could be Logan Ryan. Avo, yeah, Bama signed Sarkisian and then he left for a better job. Are you familiar with college sports at all? Jonathan Allen will not be there at pick number 5, so the Titans won't have to consider him. I think the Titans should be a playoff team this next year. I don't know if that makes them a Super Bowl contender or not, but anything short of the playoffs is a disappointment. And, I think some things are going to come back and level out. I think they're bound to be more injured than they were this year. They're going to have the depth to overcome that. A lot of good cornerbacks in this draft. I don't know who the best one is. I don't know who the best fit for the Titans is. A lot of sorting through. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Titans can be okay at safety. They need, if a fantastic safety is available like Eric Berry or Jamal, then maybe they go that direction. Look, nobody's going to say anything about Marcus right now other than he's doing well and he's on track. If you think you're getting some great revelation about Marcus's recovery before OTAs. Malarkey could be on the radio with us, or I could talk to him on any day, and he's going to say the same thing. He's doing well. He's working hard. Between Ryan and Bouye, I would go with AJ, I think. I think he's probably got more upside and has been less of a system guy. But I'd love for them to have either one of them. My hairy knuckles there on the screen to wipe away that text. What else we got? I could see him drafting 2 corners, but it depends on what they do in free agency. The thing about AJ is he's got some family in Tennessee, so that helps. But look, money talks. Yeah, Robisky played too conservative at certain points this season, but they're a conservative style offense, so it's not a surprise. A lot of people have a lot of money. It's not like the Titans are in a special area with that regard. All right, a couple more. Tanny back up or sign another vet? I don't know. They could re-sign Castle for all we know, but I think Tanny will be here for training camp and have a possibility of winning that job. I don't think anybody's out of the picture. Hey, you guys want pronouncements on free agents and draft picks weeks, months before free agency and the draft roll around. Those are crazy requests. Stephon Gilmore, Greg Cosell told us he's got a really nice skill set. He's never really put it together. So I think he'll be intriguing in free agency, but he's somebody that needs some fixing, so to speak. answered the McCourty question already 2 or 3 times. I welcome you to scroll back. Jason Morrow's got to learn how to block better, and right now he would qualify the same spot in line he qualified last year, depending on what they do with Fasano. And Amaro for Fasano is not an even trade. Fasano is a big-time blocker, and Amaro is not. Free agency begins, I don't have the date off the top of my head, it's right after the combine ends, early March. Yeah, we'll see how much film Greg has watched on college guys when we have him on tomorrow. We'll certainly do some Super Bowl review. Warmack's gone. Yeah, you guys want injury updates like people are sharing stuff. Here's what the Titans would say about Klug, I'll tell you. Progressing nicely. Williamson's not a free agent. They have a lot of time to deal with him. It's easy to say you should find a better option to back up Marcus. Who is that option? Backup quarterbacks around the league stink. There are 12 teams that don't have good starters. March 9th. Patrick Steckman tells me. Patrick, I got to tell you, and I know you comment on my Facebook stuff a lot, and I appreciate it. There's a big boss at ESPN named Patrick Stigman. So every once in a while I see your name on there, and I think, oh, the big boss is commenting. And then I go, oh, no, it's Steckman, not Stigman. What's your record next year? I mean, why would you find that informational at all for me to predict a record for a team that has yet to add through the draft or free agency? Got no context to tell you what their record's going to be next year. I don't know what their opponents in their division have done. We can do better on the questions at this time of year. Hall of Fame. Let's do a round of Hall of Fame questions, especially if you have anything beyond TO. I welcome those questions. And I know people seem to really like hearing about the process and a little bit of the debate. I don't know that there are any stadium improvements underway right now. The stadium's pretty up to snuff. Is the parade for New England being televised? How that's a question for me here, I don't know. I don't know if Mawai gets in next year. There's a big class coming in, but he is an excellent candidate. Was LaDainian Tomlinson worthy of first ballot? Absolutely. And I think a lot of you guys get confused with Hall of Fames, baseball and football. A lot of people ask me what a guy's going in as. You don't go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as something. You're not wearing a baseball cap with a logo on it. And the first ballot thing, I mean, it's significant, but it's not like baseball where it's, some guys go to the head of the line because they were that good, and a lot of other guys have to wait in line. Thanks for the compliment on the Jerry Jones interview. We were pretty excited about that. And I got a chance to approach Jerry Jones, Jason Taylor, and Terrell Davis all at the press conference introducing the Hall of Famers, and to shake their hands, tell them congratulations, and thank them on behalf of our whole show and Nashville for the interviews they gave us, and they were all very cool. What was the turning point for Terrell Davis? I'm not sure. I'm really not. I think people eased up on the longevity issue. I didn't. I think he's a very, very good player, an excellent player, Hall of Fame caliber player. I need planets generally more than I need comets. And you can be an excellent player who's unlucky, and bad luck can keep you out of the Hall of Fame. And that's what I thought. That was my feeling on Terrell Davis. I have no objection to him being in, but Jerry bought himself in. Jerry made an incredible investment in the Cowboys. Jerry's fundamentally responsible for starting a trend that got the league like 22 new stadiums with way different finances behind them to profit the league. Profiting the league profits the players because about half of that money is the salary cap. Jerry, the league was ready to give back money to CBS in a TV deal. Paul Tagliabue was ready to do that. Jerry Jones came in and said, no way. A couple weeks later, he got Fox involved and changed the face of the NFL on TV. Jerry Jones is an absolute innovator. Take away, he also won 3 Super Bowls, but take away him as a general manager, take away all his personnel decisions, the things he did. sponsorship-wise, stadium-wise, TV-wise, revolutionized the league from a business perspective. It's not debatable. Thanks for the compliments on there, Doug, Riley. Appreciate it. All right, last round, Hall of Fame and Wycheck, particularly ready to go. There were no knocks on Kevin Mawai. Listen, there are 15 guys there, all worthy to some degree. I think we left out 6 players who were all decade players, including Kevin. You know why we did that? Because there were 11 guys who were all decade players in the room, and we're only allowed to elect 5 of them. I have to say, I'm not a big Bud proponent. I know he did a ton for the league, but he basically handed the league his vote and was of no influence after the team moved to Tennessee. And I think he traded away a lot of his cachet with that move. Not that I begrudge him that move. That move obviously was instrumental in my career. Nobody spoke against Mawai being with the Players Association. I don't know why you would. He was a good president of a union that's not traditionally been strong. I noticed the same things about Wycheck that everybody else notices when you listen on the radio. What's the next step for Frank? Well, I think he's playing Pebble Beach again today, and then he's going to watch some good golf for the weekend, and I think he'll be back to work next week. I invite you to read, the piece I wrote last night and the piece I wrote this morning about him. The Oilers' history is never going back to Houston. The Oilers' history belongs to Houston. I agree with you on that. But more than that, it belongs to Bud. And Bud wanted the Oilers' history to belong to him. There's only one time that the history has stayed behind with the team that moved. And Cleveland Browns were super special circumstances. I don't know how that's still an issue for anybody. Hall of Fame voting going public? I don't know. I know a lot of guys put their ballots out this year, and I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure, but I read 1 or 2 of them saying that that's allowed. So maybe I'll do that next year. But I will say there's some manipulation involved there, you know. I mean, I might know a certain guy definitely has the votes to get in, and while I think he deserves to get in, I cast a vote or 2 this year in a different direction in my final 5 to see if I couldn't influence somebody who might have been marginal and nudge them up. So I don't know that sharing my final ballot would be as revealing as you might think about who I thought was most worthy. I don't know if that makes any sense. Biggest need, absolutely cornerback. Absolutely cornerback. Does it make you a Super Bowl contender if you get some cornerbacks? I don't know. I got to see what they do. I got to see what Houston, Jacksonville, and Indianapolis do. Does Fisher get to the Hall? What are you talking about? Fisher's like the second losingest coach of all time. He didn't win a Super Bowl. It baffles me on what some of you think is Hall of Fame worthy. I'm just baffled. No concept. I'm sorry if I'm hurting feelings, but Hall of Fame is like the very best. There are 310 Pro Football Hall of Famers. You're asking me if Jeff Fisher's one of them? Or should join them? Come on. That can't. You couldn't have been serious. I can't see going tight end in the first round with the need at receiver and with Delaney Walker having a couple good years remaining. Most fans are delusional. I agree with that. All right, folks, I've enjoyed it. What am I going to tell you here? See this sign over here? Don't block the box. Do not go into the intersection. I'm going on the sign on the Facebook Live. Don't go into this intersection if you can't get out, because then when I'm trying to go this way, boom, gridlock. Please listen to the Midday 180, 104.5 The Zone in Nashville on your FM dial. 1045thezone.com. You can stream us online. We've got a good app. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Twitter at Midday 180. I'm on Twitter at Paul Kuharsky NFL. I'd urge you to like my Facebook page where you'll find all my Titans stuff. And that is Paul Kuharsky NFL or Tennessee Titans ESPN on Facebook. Do me a solid. I've given you half an hour here. Go like that Facebook page. We'll call it even, all right? Appreciate you all coming in. We will be at the Combine, yes, and appreciate all of you being such faithful readers, listeners, and in this case, viewers. Probably don't say it enough, but I'm fully aware that none of this is happening if you're not on the other side, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. We'll talk to you at noon. Please tune in. Have a great day.